Well, hi y'all. Welcome back. It's a beautiful day out there today. It's spring feeling, and spring is right around the corner. Yay! Well, anyway, today I just want to come on and say good morning, or actually now it's afternoon, so good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. If you can get a breath of fresh air out there, if you're anywhere where it is nice, get a breath of fresh air. I did that this morning. And this afternoon, we're going to take some cold pressed paper and we're going to do what everybody hates, I know, exercises. Because exercises help your hands and your fingers and your mind, so that it just becomes easier and easier. Practice, exercises in between your, painting. I'm still doing that sort of thing because it just kind of refreshes your mind, refreshes your memory, and also just helps with your hands because, as we get older, um, I'm not going to say how much older, but as we get older, uh, our hands need that. They need the movement and the exercise. So it's only going to help you when you're painting. It's only going to help you to be a better painter. So with further ado, let's head on down to the table. See you there. Okay, so here we are back at the table, folks. And like I said, this is just going to be exercises. And I've got several different brushes, types of brushes, kinds of brushes, sizes of brushes that I'm going to use to do this. The first one, which I always think is the funniest little name for a brush, but it's called a cat's tongue. I've got a few sizes, but I'm choosing this one. I'm going to put some water on my brush and some paint down on the paper, on the palette here. Mix it up, get it going. And what we're going to do first is I want to, at first here, before I get into other things, I want to just show you holding your brush. People hold their brushes in all kinds of ways. I tend to hold mine like this and use my finger for a balance. So I'm going to take this brush, and even though it's what it is, I'm going to make a box. Now, I don't have water on my paper. Right now I'm doing wet on dry. This is what this is called. And we're just making our hands work with the brush flat, then on its side, then flip it on the other side. Do it sideways so your hand's moving around. It's not just one way. Okay, so that's that. Now with this same cat's tongue, I'm going to wet a square, or actually these are rectangles, I'm sorry. I'm going to wet a rectangle. And the difference is going to be what you're going to see. Now I can't control it very much. Kind of hard to make that box, this box here exactly the way I want it. Because why? Right, because I wet the paper and the paint and water mix and do their own thing. I can wait till it stops mixing like I just did, or moving, and then with the tip and the side, see, I'm moving my hand within those parameters that it moved, and then just go back in, do some layering, flat side, right? Turn it over, the other side, flat again, flip it over. Do these things with your hands because it will, make your hands nimble to be able to. Okay, so that was that one. Now we're going to take a small round. This was a size 4 cat's tongue. This is a size 8 Transin. I'm sorry, I forget to tell you the name. This is Misty's Touch, I guess is what that was. I've had these brushes for a long time. This is Transin. These are fairly new brushes for me, and I love these Transin brushes. They have a wonderful tip that stays nice like that all the time, and it just really works great. Now I'm going to go back into, I'm going to get a different color. Go over here. And with not too much water on my brush, just enough to wet the paints, dab some off on the paper towel. And we're going to do the same thing with this brush, right? It's not, the paper is not wet. So I am definitely, I have it laid down a little bit. And with the tip, I'll do it this way so you can see it. It's on its side a little. And with the tip, I'm moving the water back. Whoops, I'm moving the paint back and forth. Then with the tip and a little bit of the sides or the belly, this area, I'm going back and forth this way. I'm holding the brush, as you can see, pretty much differently every time, right? So my hand's getting some pretty good little exercise there. All right, now, I don't know what I washed that off for. I'm going to be using the same. Well, anyway, we had to wash it off to get clear water. So we're going to, and if you didn't, it would have been fine. So now we're going to go back in with the wet on wet. And you see how, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was the good thing about this, though, I can make the square, the rectangle, the block, because nothing around it is wet. If this area was wet, for this wet on wet, it would keep spreading. But because this, I only wet a certain area of paper. Now it's pretty much stopped at that perimeter where I drew the water. So now we can just, come in here, get some more paint using part of the belly, the tip of the brush, back and forth, flip it over this way. It helps, definitely helps your hands. Okay, that's those. That was with a cat's tongue around, and now we're just going to try it with the flat. Basically all works the same way, but I like to use the different brushes anyway, just to show you. So we've got some water on our brush, and we are designating a block. The paper is dry around it. I have not wet this paper at all, so it's dry. Okay, so with the flat brush, back and forth, turn it over, flip your hand, use the tip of it, the chisel part, back and forth, staying within the block. Won't go anywhere because you didn't wet the rest. Now I'm going to wet the paper again here. Put a considerable amount of water on here, which would be the wet on wet idea. Come back into my color. And it's moving, see? But as long as I stay in my block area that I wet, you can kind of tell. I know it's really hard at first when you're painting, learning, but the paper is dull. It's flat without the water. Excuse me. When you add the water, it's going to shine, especially if you tip it a little or whatever. So it can help. And then after a while, you will just learn to see it with your eyes. We're doing the same thing here. Now that the water is finished, moving to those designated lines I made with the water, we just continue the exercise, right? Flipping it around on its tip, side, flat, this way. So you get the idea, right? All right, now there's only one other brush I thought I would show you, and it's this big, huge guy here. I don't know what I'll call it, but it's a big one. But it's another Transin, and they are the most wonderful brushes. So even though this is huge and it carries so much water, I'm going to come in here to my color. I'm going to add some more. I need some more color in here. A little more water. Dab some off because there's so much water on this brush. And we're going to do, it's called, I'm going to flip my hand around, and with the tip down, I press like this. Tip down, press. You can make pretty flowers with this. We need some more water. I have no water on the paper, remember? I don't want to get in your way, but tip down, tip down. And I kind of like the way that works with those ends like that. Okay, now that's how that worked, right? Now we're going to wet those, put the water on the paper. And it is hard to see, but you'll get used. And as soon as you touch it, look what happens. It just moves. It does its own thing because there's water down there. So you see, it doesn't look like that at all. Even if I did this, it would just excuse me, let me go. Even if I do this, which I meant to do, I'm sorry, it's going to move anyway. It doesn't look the same. So you see, you can kind of see it doesn't matter for the brush or the size of the brush. The water and the paint works the same way. And these are all, you know, exercises that you want to. Another thing is always form the brush after. It's supposed to really help and seems to really help keep the brushes nice. All right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the flat one. Only I think I'm going to choose a different flat. I'm going to choose this one here. It's a little smaller, and it is a size 8 flat brush. And the same thing applies. Let's use a different color. Make a bit of a purple. So I'm going to hold my brush, right? Hold my brush like this. But it's going to change as I do what I'm doing, so that your hand's not going to hurt after when you first start. You definitely want to do these kinds of exercises. So with this one, I'm just going to go like this. No water on the paper. See all the different ways my hand is moving? Slow the video down so you can see. I'll try to go slow. This is with a flat brush. I'm just mixing colors in here. Or I just flip my hand around. Exercises. Okay, that's with the flat. Or you can do that with just about any brush as well. Whether it's the tongue, a big one, a small one, just the bigger the brush, the bigger the petals, the bigger everything. Unless you were to just use the tip and, you know, draw it, paint it out with the tip. Well, then you can make it smaller as well. Okay, and so I like to do the leaves. So I'm going to take, I think these tongues make a really pretty leaf. So I'm going to wet the paper a little bit. And I'm going to go to my green, get some green. I think I need to wet my paints. And you know what? Oh, there it is. I forgot to do that before I sat down. Although I thought they were all right, but some of them dry faster, for whatever reason. Okay, so it's still wet. And we're going to use, it makes a beautiful leaf. And here I press down, tip, and press down, and come up. And then on my side, I'm going to pull a little out. Drag it over with my side, put it in. With the tip, move it around. Take some off. Come in here with just water and move it around. So there's no hard line. Now with no, and you can see it's moving, the water on the page, but it's not going to go any further than what I wet on that paper. Now without any water on the page, tip down, tip belly down, tip down and up again, tip down and up again, right? And then we're turning it on its pulling some over. Gonna get some more. On our side here, I'm using the side of the brush. A little more water on my brush. Take some out, pull it over here. The brush moves around, your fingers move around, your hands move around, whatever you have to do. That's with the cat's tongue. It's just getting used to holding each brush the way each brush works, because a round brush is going to work different than this brush. Although, yeah, they're pretty different. Flat ones are going to work different than the rounds. Flat's going to work different than the cat's tongue. So, all right, let's take some water. And I want to do these pointy, I'm just going to do 3. I'm trying not to use up the whole page all at once. So now with the paint, and the paint's kind of watery. See, that's the effect, right? The more you add, the more it moves around. You use your flip. I just flipped my brush several times. That's why you have to probably slow it down and bring it closer to your face, the video, to see. So you add it with the tips. Now you're holding it like this. Come around. So your hand's getting all kinds of workouts. And that's with this kind of brush. Now, because this brush has a really nice tip, I'm going to show you, which of course I've done many times, but we're just going to do it because we're exercising. With my finger on this, I don't need to put my finger down there, but my hands are kind of shaky. I don't have the steadiest hands in the world. And once again, I just had some coffee, so with my finger down and holding the brush like you see me, with absolutely next to no pressure whatsoever, I'm making a fine, fine line. I'm going to come back here same way that my hand is, a little more pressure, right? All the while dragging my finger along the page. Now a little more. I'm putting more pressure each time. But that's muscle memory. That's causing me to have it. Now I'm going to turn myself this way. And with the finger down, baby finger, extremely little pressure and not very much water or paint on the brush. I'm going this way, a little more pressure. Vary your directions that your hand is painting. This is horizontal, that was, vertical. If I could talk today. And this is horizontal. Vertical. This is horizontal, this is vertical. Well, we'll get a good laugh out of that. Okay. So you see what a wonderful job this thing does with this point. It's just amazing to me. And the other ones, of course, without a lot of water on your brush, without a lot of without any water on the paper, we're going to do those in the vertical way. Point down, press hard, come up, press hard, come up. And if we want to do it again over here for horizontal, press down, come up, press down, come up. All these wonderful exercises that we do, right? You can do it with anything. Just pick an object, pick leaves, pick stems. These are stems, these are lines. Everything you paint is basically an object. Okay, so we want to do that. I wanted to use this great big one to show you that even though this brush is so big, and I actually have, and I meant to bring it with me, I'll look, I think I have it over there. Even though this is so big, this tip is so nice and pointed. Watch what happens. Let me get some more paint here. I'm just mixing up colors of paint to use. Doesn't matter. Okay, so with this, my baby finger down, tiniest little pressure, and even less pressure. Without practicing, that is really hard to do, okay? A little more. Get it wet again. A little more. A little harder. So the more pressure, the fatter line you're going to get. And the different size of the brush is going to give you different sizes, size lines. Push that way down. If I press this way down hard, I get this, a real fat line, right? Because it's such a big brush with a beautiful point. So wash them off. Always wash your brushes off. Get that paint out of there. The only other, see, we did those. I mean, like I said, you can use any object that you want to do these exercises. Oh, I know what I want to do. Let's do a circle. And let's do a circle with, that's right, we're going to use a flat brush to do a circle. And how crazy does that sound? Okay, so we're going to get paint on our brush, on our palette, and on our brush with no water on this paper. With the corner of this brush, and let's move my, very little pressure, okay? Very little. Probably people do it in different ways. This is how I'm doing it right now. Just very little pressure on the edge. Then come in, use the chisel part to come, see how I'm moving my hand? And I'm moving the brush. And I'm staying within the lines. Using that chisel, filling it in. Not the most perfect circle, but that's not the point. Okay, so we have that. Now, with a pointed brush, I'm going to choose the fat one. I'm going to get the same paint here in the same scenario. I'm going to hold this, and then I'm going to bring this over here a little bit. Hopefully you can see it. We're going to use this wonderful tip to make this. I'm not very good at circles anyways. This is probably going to look more like an egg, but that's okay because what I'm demonstrating is what we're doing. We're holding our brush a certain way, moving our hands certain directions, keeping the tip. I'm focusing on the tip of this brush to stay within the lines. Here I'm using my finger, as you can see, my baby finger, to hold my hand steady so I can guide myself around like this and stay within the lines. Fill it in. Yeah, looks more eggy, but you got the point, okay? No pun intended there. Afternoons can be pretty funny. Okay, so I think you have the really good idea of how important, super, I know it can be boring, but it won't be after a while because you'll start figuring creative ways to do it. I mean, there's all kinds of things. One other thing could be like, let's use a smaller round. I could, we could do an exercise of the circles. See, I'm actually picking up, and that's kind of the point I'm making. I did a wet the page, put in the water, the paint into the water. Now, before it even dries, I'm going to go to another color. There's a lot of water there. Oh, I meant to wet the paper. Well, let me get a different brush. Okay. Do another circle right next to it. It's already going to grab that water and that paint, and it's going to blend into there, right? And they're going to blend. And then taking another color before it dries, wet the paper right next to it, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to spread the moment I hit it, and it's going to bleed, it's called, into the others. Let's keep going. Let's wet the next section. Let's get a green and add that. Oh, sepia, sorry. And before that one dries, we go, see how we touch the corner of it? As we touch the corner of each one, it spreads over. And why is that? Exactly, because it's got water. We put the water down. same thing. See, I could come on here and do this, and it's going to move water and paint. Now let's do that. Don't have too much space left, but let's do that with no water on the paper. Okay, no water, just the water on my brush. So we're going to make the circle. I don't want it to be wet. It's on dry paper, and I want it to pretty much be dry. I'm going to come to this one. You can see already, nothing's grabbing the other one. Take that color off, dry off my brush, come in and get blue on the dry paper. See, there's none of that bleeding or blending going on. It stays right there. That's because that's wet on dry or dry on dry. If I wanted to dry my brush so I had no water in it hardly, it would amount to the same thing. And it would actually have, see, this is called the dry brush effect. You can see the paper because I have color, but I don't have much any water. It's showing the paper underneath. So those are some pretty cool and important exercises, folks, that I hope you do try and you do practice. Even if that's all you do at first instead of paint. In fact, that's a great idea to just really start. I mentioned it before, start with exercises first. You don't need all this on the page. You can do just that, just that, just that, just this one, just the lines. Don't overwhelm yourself at first because you can get very overwhelmed at first. Watercolor is not the easiest medium to work with, but it's the most wonderful medium to work with. I worked with acrylic paints for over 40 years and painted, and I truly loved it. But when well, you can listen to my one of my videos that are encouraging videos, and it talks about that, but I just told myself I couldn't paint for so long. I just kept making excuses why. I have no idea. So my whole thing is, don't listen to those voices whatsoever. Get yourself some stuff, get something to paint on, and just go for it. The most will happen is you won't like it and you won't do it. But if you want a watercolor, keep pressing on, keep moving forward. Don't go backwards. If you really want to, it will happen. It just takes time, like everything else. So check out my other tutorials, folks. There's some great stuff on there. And have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.